Light back just like that. I can't go back, and I won't go back. I done got my life back, life back.
Good evening and welcome to another live with me, Paul Addict Mentor. You are now watching me live via Twitch, via Facebook, via YouTube. Good evening and welcome. Tonight, I've got some bang, naughty prison stories for you and a little bit of exciting news. And I mean exciting news. This news is just going to blow your mind, right? But first, let's get into my prison stories. No, first, let me tell you who I am. For those of you who don't know and you're just coming across this live for the very first time, my name is Paul Simmons. I go by the name Paul Addict Mentor these days. I spent 22 years in prison. I spent 27 years in active addiction. I was addicted to heroin and crack cocaine. It almost destroyed me. I was able to turn my life around, got myself a degree in prison and many other qualifications, and started really working on myself and understanding that unless I dealt with the things in my past, I was never going to deal with my addictions, with the things that were making me just behave in the most outrageous way. Like I said, 22 years in prison. The biggest sentence I served was 10 years, 6 months, 27 days. And I served 8 years, 10 months out of that sentence. And it was brutal. And I hated it. But I did it and I got out. And because I wasn't fixed, I messed up and I did more time. And in that time, I came across all sorts of people, all sorts of individuals, getting up to all sorts of crazy. Now, I've got 3 stories for you this evening, and the first one is about a corrupt prison officer. Oh, yes. Now, let me tell you, when you're in prison, not everyone is there to play the game, you know. It's us versus them. However, some people don't like that us versus them, and they just like I'm going to be on the prisoner's side, and the prisoners are going to make me loads of money. So this is the story of a prisoner. This is a true story, by the way. Everything I do is all about realness, telling the truth, and letting people understand that prison officers are not the angels that sometimes they are painted to be. So this is about a Liverpudlian Scouser screw prison officer that was in HMP Stockton. For reasons, obvious reasons, I am going to call him Mr. Jones. So, Mr. Jones was a really nice prison officer. When I was in HMP Stockton, my mental health was really bad and I was on not fit to work. So I spent most of my time sitting in my cell, you know what I mean, waiting for association and that sort of stuff to come. Mr. Jones used to come out and go, "Hey up, Simo, do you want to come out and do you want to do a bit of landing cleaning?" So I used to do that and I used to be cleaning the landings and stuff. And he was really nice. He always used to try to help me out. If there's a little bit of extra munch or anything, the guy would go, "Yeah, go on, Paul. I got you, Simo." And he'd look after me. So he was really friendly to me. Yeah, but like I said, my mental health was all over the place. So sometimes I may not have been picking up on all the signals this guy was letting off. Anyway, we're in a prison and it's full of spice, right? This spice paper that kept coming into the jail was real, man. It was real. It was messing people up in a real kind of serious way. And it kept on coming in and coming in and coming in. And one morning, we all get locked down. The jail gets locked down, right? And we're all thinking, what the hell's going on here? 26 people get transferred out of the prison. Well, it's on lockdown here. This is serious things. Evening, Paula, evening, Si. This is serious things. We're all getting locked down. Someone who I actually owed bare canteen to, I watched the screws go into his cell, twist him up, ship him out. I thought, dead Andy. That's more canteen for me this week, even though I didn't like the stuff that he ordered. But that was the thing about prison. Do you know what I mean? You're always in debt. You're always having to pay Rob Peters, pay Paul, all of that sort of stuff. Anyway, the next morning, we all get released. And the rumor mill start. It is in overdrive, man. I cannot tell you. When it comes to prisons and gossip, prisoners, man, they can gossip like no others. So I'm hearing little whispers, Scouser this, screw that, spice paper, weapons. I'm like, right, what the fuck has happened? This is what happened. The Scouse screw Mr. Jones, right? The Scouse screw Mr. Jones had been bringing in sheets and sheets and sheets of spice paper to the boys in the jail, right? So it was travelers and a couple of black fellas. They were all sorting it out, giving him money, right? Giving him money. He was bringing in the drugs. However, this had gone on for quite a while. This, like, do you know what I mean? Evening demo, this sort of, the prison officer bringing in drugs, and he was getting paid quite handsomely. However, he wanted to stop. He wanted to stop bringing it in. However, the people he was bringing it in for didn't want him to stop. They weren't having none of it, right? So they just kept putting money in his account, saying, listen, the money's in the account, mate. You're bringing the drugs into the fucking jail. Otherwise, we're going to fuck you up. And he kept him under wraps for a whole year, right? So they'd had this guy under just like a mountain of pressure for a year. He's bringing drugs in. He's risking his reputation. Let me tell you, this isn't a young, new prison officer I'm talking about. This is an old school screw. This is why it shocked me so much. So they've been putting pressure on him. They're putting money in his account, whether he likes it or not, and he's having to bring the drugs in that are being dropped off to his house. Otherwise, he's getting fucked up by a bunch of travelers, right? So that is the situation. So Mr. Jones comes into work one day carrying a shank. He's carrying a shank, right? He's got this through security, and he's really worried because he's fucking not bought in the drugs now, and he's thinking he's going to get fucked up by the traveler boys in the jail. Because listen, people, this is real prison. This is no joke. Like, prison officers get fucked up all the time. They get served up all the fucking time. Justin Lloyd Ashman, come on, man. I am good. Thank you so much for asking. Up the gas. So Mr. Jones is coming to work now, this prison officer, and he's got a shank on him, yeah? He's got his bloody nank, and he's willing to cause danger with it. But the pressure's got too much for him. So what he does, he walks to the governor's office. He goes to speak to the governor, and Mr. Jones said this, but Louis called Bandita. Come on, bandit. Well, go on, brother. How you doing, my guy? I hope you're really well. And I mean that. I hope you are well. So Mr. Jones, this corrupt prison officer that has been bringing in spice paper, not only spice paper, by the way, he was bringing in lock knives to the jail. He was smuggling in blades to the jail, so the boys in all had proper weapons. Do you know what I mean? It was a real naughty situation. And no, you wouldn't have heard about this. You wouldn't have heard nothing about it because this was a security jail and this shouldn't have happened. But just look it up. This was about in 2017, 2018. He's walked to the governor's office and just grassed himself up. He'd literally walked in and said, Governor, I'm carrying this around with me because for the last year, I have been being bullied into bringing drugs into the jail. And you know that. Oh, bless my brother. Took him what you said on words and words. Oh, bless you, brother. Bless you. Honestly, it means a lot to me when people say, Paul, I took on board what you said. So this screw, this old school screw now, has just grassed himself up wickedly for bringing in spice paper for over a year because he knew if he's going to grass himself up, he had to tell the hotel because guess what? When prison officers start working with prisoners are going to take full advantage of that situation. And if they get caught, the prison officers getting grasped right up, right back to the very first, every penny that they gave him, the prison officers getting grasped up for. So that is the story of the Scouse Screw, who was very nice to me. Now I realise he was nice to me because, you know, he was trying to sort me out and ask me if I needed anything. But my brain wasn't there. It wasn't there at all. Yeah, so that's the story of the prison officer. We call him Mr. Jones for legal reasons. Grassed himself up. This next one, right? Let me see. My dad escaped from Hallfield, jumped in the back of the sawdust truck and was on the run for 2 years. So, visited his mate in Birmingham, Nick, while on the... Oh, let me give you some... No, I'm going to give you one of them. I love that, Justin. I love that a lot. That is just... Honestly, that reminds me of everything about prison right now. I didn't know many people had escaped from Hallfield, mate. I gotta be honest, I didn't know many people had escaped from there. I know Gloucester people escaped through the visits. I know a guy who did that. That's for a story for another day, obviously, because that's a real interesting one. I gotta tell you the story about my friends who escaped from Dartmoor. Oh, I got some stories to tell you people. But this, what I'm about to tell you, is disgusting. It includes a very young child and a death of that child. So I'm giving you as much warning as I can that this next story is upsetting. It's upsetting. It's not a long story. It's a very short story. But the crime that this guy committed was very, very, very upsetting. But I'm going to tell it because it's Paul's Prison Tales, and this is what we talk about. So, I was on good order or discipline down the segregation unit in HMP Parkhurst. I've been down there for a while, and actually I didn't get out of that block until I got accumulated visits to another prison, back to Hallfield. When I was down there, there was this guy, right? Every single night, all night, he would get his plastic cup and tap, 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 tap it on the pipes. Now, imagine that all the piping in the prison runs through cell to cell to cell to cell to cell. It's just one big pipe running through. So it keeps a lot of people up. It turned out the crime this guy was in for was this. He had taken his 4-month-old child, boiled a pot of water on the stove, and put the baby in that pot of water. Right, that's the people I was living with, right? So he did that, right? But we all know he's done this now. We're all down the block. We're all getting stressed. He's all taking the piss. I know, Paula. Genuine truth, right? So this guy's taking a piss, bang, bang, bang. So down the block, it's very regimented, right? So they unlock one of you to go to the shower, they lock another one up, blah, blah, blah. He was helping the screws chopping, let me see, I can't. Oh, you talk about your dad. Oh, yeah, I've pinned the comment. I'm going to get back to that in a minute. I just got to finish what was said. Oh, I know it's real. I know, Paul. I know you do. So it down the block, it's regimented. You get one person gets exercise while the other person gets a shower. Meals get delivered to the door. So no two people really should be out at the same time. It did happen, a couple of the pandemic. They used to unlock us so we could swap a few things. You know what I mean? If man had tobacco and I needed Rizzer, he had tobacco, we'd do a little swapsy. However, this guy who'd been tapping on the pipes all night long, and we're all giving him serious verbal threats out the door. How can anyone be so cruel? Nick, I know, man, there's some scumbags in the earth, man. You really know that. He was up with the screws chopping down trees. He was a carpenter back in 1990. He shot someone with a sawn-off. 9 years stretch finish time in Dartmoor. Justin, what is your dad's name? It's not Dave Thompson, is it? But that name just comes to my head, right? Just something about the sawn-off shotgun comes to my head. And that's someone for another. Vasey! Was it Vasey? Griff, this is when I was in Parkhurst. Rob Griff's my boy as well, everyone. I know Nick. What do you mean you know Nick with the angry faces? We only do positivity on here. Even with the angry faces, you go, I just say I know Nick. Exclamation marks. Right. So they're all letting us out for showers and we're doing that, and we're routined off. Now, this fucker who'd been banging the pipes all night. Now, Rob Griff, you will know. Can you imagine that? Someone going bam, 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 bam on the pipes all the time. Jeff, no, I don't know who that is. Anyway, so it was banging on the pipes like that. One of the guys, right, been let out for a phone call or something, right? But he'd been let out for a phone call. Well, the other guy was in the showers, right? So my man has walked past his cell, clocked that he's not in the cell now. He's clocked that he's not in the cell, and he's hearing the shower go, bruv, and it ain't got no locks or anything. It's just at the end of the end of the landing with one of them dressing room doors on it. You know what I mean? You can see the top half and the bottom half, but no balls, right? So that's the kind of where he was. Was the pipes in bad? Also, the pipes with the radiators. That's what the pipes are in jail, the radiators. So he's done that. He's on the phone. He's clocked my man's not in the shower now. Now the screw's gone off to let him use the phone. So the screw's fucked off. Now we've got a baby killer and one crazy motherfucker out on the landing. Man, I have just heard screaming like it was unearthly. It wasn't from this earth. The noise that guy was making, wow. He got beat so bad. He got fucked up so bad. Honestly, got fucked up. And the worst thing is, and this is what I hate about the system. So the guy who fucked him up, right? He ended up getting about 3 months on top of his sentence, yeah, which we all know is disgusting, but violence is violence and the law is the law. But what gets my goat the most about that guy, he got about £50,000 from the government, from the prison system. He got compensation for that beating because he was in protection. He was hiding, and we were all down there on good order and discipline. And yeah, he got fucked up. So he got, I think it was like 50 grand he got. And that really really got to me that he got that money after what he was in for. Do you know what I mean? But he sued the prison and the prison was in the wrong. So it's real horrible. I've got one last story for you. in prison, there's lots of men. Lots of men. In prison, there's also lots of female staff and officers. Who knows where this is going? Oh, Simon says radiator was built into the wall with drilled holes to let heat. Dude, you had it good, man. We just had a pipe running through the cell, and it was only on from November time. They were really cruel with it. Shocking, crazy crap, mine. It's fucked. Of course it is. Hey, Trick, I hope you're having a good evening, and everyone. Leon, yep, me too, says Paula. Right. So, there's lots of women prison officers, and there's lots of nurses. Now, I can tell you about 3 different examples of what I'm about to tell you. Rob Griff might be able to remember, if you're still in, Rob, you might be able to remember the female officer from Dartmoor who was all around the Black Boys. What about that matey who threw the phone? Oh, Rob Griff! Oh, Rob Griff, that is a story when there's about 20 of us in the cell. Rob Griff, you have just reminded me of a classic story. Not tonight. Not tonight. I'm going to tell that tomorrow. I'll tell the whole story. That is when we were in Decat prison. Oh, that was fun. My old man learned loads of dodgy shit in prison, lol. Came out wiser. Yeah. Streetwiser, not much wiser though, especially if you keep committing more crimes. So I could tell you about 3 or 4 examples of this story. I was in HMP Stocken again. I got to tell it. Yeah, Rob, how about if I do a Facebook only live tomorrow at 7? We get you in, Rob, and you can tell the story. Yeah, just give me a yes and we'll get that up and going, Rob. We'll have a joint live and you can come on and tell the story. But you have to put your dog away. You have to put your phone properly and we can do it. And the caramellos. Well, people who know me know I've told the story about you, Rob, to my little group. I've told stories about you. So that, Rob, will be a great idea. Do you know what? What I'm going to do? I'm going to leave my prison stories a minute because I've done about 20 odd minutes and I'm usually on for about half hour. I want to talk to you now about what I've been planning today. So my good friend Mark Thomas, a.k.a. Ramjack, a.k.a. RJ, he put an idea in my head to put on an event to raise funds for me so I'm able to do what I want to do, upgrade everything, do my talks, just be a bit more comfortable. So we try and put a fundraising event on. And Ramjack said straight away, I will volunteer my time. So I'm like, wow, yeah, I'll look into it. And then I found a venue for extremely cheap and a date that I wanted. So we got Ramjack and a date. And then I had someone named Aisha Kelly come and say to me, Paul, I'll MC at your do. So that's now we've got an MC and a DJ. And then Bristol and me, another MC, said he would MC. And we've got a couple of other DJs saying they're going to DJ. And as you know, it is hard as Aisha is a legend. She is, mate. And I cannot wait to see what she's going to bring to the night. So then I got an inbox from Craig Waters from Swindon. And he runs big drum and bass nights in a club up in Old Town in Swindon. And he was like, mate, how can I help you? And I was like, raw. I need a sound system, man. And it's there, they're thousands of pounds. He was like, bruv, I got you, man. So now we've got a sound system, we've got a venue, we've got people that are going to play. And you know what? We're only on day one of sorting this out. We are looking for a photographer. We're looking for people to help with promo. We are looking for someone to live stream it. Yeah, I'm going to hit him up actually, Side Belly, man. That's a good idea. Yeah, so it's all sorted. We're looking at May the 27th in Swindon. More details to be confirmed, but that is it. We are going to have a Recovery Rovers full-on rave with bona fide DJs, bona fide MCs. It's going to be amazing. And I just want to say thank you, and I hope you can all come. Every penny that is taken on the door is going to come towards what we're trying to do here. So please get involved. All right. That is me. I hope you've enjoyed me a little live. I hope you've had a really good and interesting evening. And Rob Griffin and me, we're going to talk and get the story of the time the guy threw the phone out the window. Peace, love, and unity, you beautiful people.